Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Alright, this video is going to be talking about EOS. Just simply EOS, okay? And why I think that EOS is going to, kick everybody's ass and just be number one, reign supreme, and that's it. And based off of only a few things, key things, but again, a few things, okay? Which should take it very far. Number one. The fact that, Dan Larimer, the guy that created this, has already a track record of creating other platforms just free for the public, for the people, and, just trying to expand what this whole blockchain and this new Internet 3.0 is. That number one is a humongous green flag. Ding, ding. Okay, so we'll go with that. We'll go with that as number one. Now, number two. Let's start comparing it to Ethereum and EOS to like Ethereum or any other building block like Ethereum. Let's just say Ethereum right now, but this is the only thing. There's a bunch of other shit out there, like I think it was the hash flare and a bunch of other crap, whatever, but the Tangle and all this other shit. But the point I'm making is that let's just compare it to Ethereum, because Ethereum is the only other real competitor at the moment that we can even look at. So EOS and Ethereum. First of all, EOS is free, Ethereum is not. Is there anything else that why do I even need to go any further? Now, number three. This is the real reason I really wanted to make this video, okay? Is to give you my actual reason as to why I think EOS is just gonna fucking blow up. Just destroy everything else in this this competition. Unless another platform like it comes along. Now let me give you a quick history lesson, okay? Back when I was growing up, I grew up in the Nintendo days, in the Atari days, if you really want to go back far. And I remember, getting my Nintendo Power magazine and Electronic Games, I think it was called, or EG, or someone correct me if I'm wrong, EA, I don't know what the fuck, but all these magazines. And I was a big tech nerd, I love video games, a big video game guy. I love my Nintendo. I was a humongous Nintendo fanboy, okay? Even though all my friends had the Segas of the world, and eventually, if you guys are old enough to remember, Atari Jaguars started coming along, this thing called the CDI by Philips Magnavox. The Jaguar was made by Atari, I already covered that one. Who else made something else? The Panasonic 3DO had some amazing fucking games for it. The Sega CD, that was a little precursor to those. The Sega Saturn. But then this one guy came into the block. Sony PlayStation. Sony. And I remember back then when all of these platforms, okay, were coming about. Some of them were great. Some of them had amazing games for it, really. Some of them been players in this field for a very long time, like Nintendo. They were the monsters, okay? So everybody was like, oh, Nintendo's gonna fucking win this, no problem. And Nintendo would be like Ethereum, believe it or not, okay? Nintendo's gonna fucking just win and slam dunk. Fuck this shit, you know what I mean? This is what like the beginning of the CDs, okay? When CDs started coming out. Everything before that was cassettes, okay? And Nintendo was still sticking strong with their cassettes and still kicking everybody's ass, okay, with these new CDs and everything. And even though they attempted to delve into this world, they didn't really go far. So at the end, what happened was that like all these companies, they followed the Nintendo model, okay? And by following the Nintendo model, what they did is they built an intranet within themselves, meaning that whoever developed a game for Nintendo can only develop that game for Nintendo. And if you wanted to make that game also for Sega, you had to make it on a completely different platform. Let me explain. So Nintendo was its own platform. Sega had its own, like in order for programmers to make games, had its own platform. Nintendo, Sega, Panasonic, 3DO, Atari, all these motherfuckers had their own thing. So if you wanted to make a game for all systems, you needed to hire teams to make that same game 5 different times. And what, and so like, you know, it was very difficult because each, you know, they made their, they made it so that programmers were, they made it, each system, Nintendo, Sega, whatever, they made it very difficult for their programming and shit like that to learn, so that way the programmers can only learn one thing and just kind of be stuck with that. You feel me? It was this weird thing. It was like this whole intranet thing, meaning just, you know, keeping everything within a closed system, a centralized system. So pretty much when Sony came about, Sony, you know, the only thing Sony had to its name at this point in history, in electronic history, was the fact that Sony was fucking Sony. Sony was so Sony. They made amazing TVs, audio, you know, they were the, you know, they invented the Walkman, you know, they were, you know, top of the line. So when they decided to get into, you know, this whole video game business, you know, people were like, man, they're just gonna fucking lose money like all these other companies, you know, like Panasonic, you know, fuck Magnavox, you name it, whatever. Sorry. Anyway, but Sony was like, no, hell no, we're gonna fucking do awesome. And why were they gonna do awesome? It was very simple, because they said we're gonna create this thing called the Sony PlayStation, which is gonna be the easiest fucking thing to develop for. Period. End of story. Open source-ish. Like, you know what I mean? Meaning that, like, you know, it's going to be so easy that even if someone that only knows Nintendo code, Sega code, the Atari code, they can easily learn this code and also make a game for both. So let's just say the new, whatever, Canon shooter game came out, okay? Now, the guy that was making the game could easily make it for... they would pick a platform, you know, let's just say Nintendo, Nintendo was the number one, or Sega, number two, but it was Nintendo, so they would pick Nintendo, but at the same time, they were like, well, fuck it, now we can make the same exact game for the new Sony PlayStation, because it's literally like just making a copy type of thing. It was very easy. So, Sony, all of a sudden, with nothing to add to this industry, except the fact that they brought this new, you know, Sony PlayStation, this new platform that allowed developers to develop for it easily and pretty much for free, in a sense, okay? It fucking blew the top of the whole video game industry to the point where, again, Sony became a fucking leader up until Microsoft came into the fucking realm, and then they started, you know, doing their version of that. Okay, yeah, I got out of video games at that point, so I'm not even gonna, whatever. We're just focusing on you know, late 90s history here. Okay, so you know, when Sony, you know, by the time Sony, you know, okay, so then at this point, you know, there was Sony PlayStation, Atari Jaguar, the Magnavox CDI, the Panasonic 3DO, the Nintendo, I think 64. I think it was at the 64 at that point. We had Laserdisc. We had all kinds of fucking platforms, okay? And so, yeah, I'm cracking my neck from all the crack I was smoking. You know, like one of my early trolls is already suggesting to smoke some crack. Anyway, so where was I with the story? So yeah, like the point of the matter is that like all these companies, they all disappeared. The only one that did not disappear, so Sega disappeared, Atari disappeared, all Panasonic, what the fuck, you know, a lot of you guys don't even fucking know that Panasonic and Magnavox even fucking had video game systems. Look them up. I'll see if I can put some pictures up, but whatever. The point is that the only reason Nintendo was able to fucking last so long is because they had already built such a fucking monstrosity of a corporation, company, entity, everything, that's why they're still around. Okay? But at the end of the day, Sony has been able to not only kick Nintendo in the ass, but destroy everybody else and literally reign supreme. Okay? Why? Up until the whole Microsoft days, I don't know what happened there. I don't know who leads what now. But the point is that why were they able to fucking destroy everything? Only because, and then create not just the Sony PlayStation, but the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and etc., etc. But why were they able to succeed? I'm sorry, I know I'm very long-winded. But why were they able to succeed? Very simple. Because they followed the simple formula of just building an open platform type thing, but just building a very easy platform so that others can, you know, build upon it and use it. So their genius was building the PlayStation, okay, and selling it for cheap, and then getting all those fucking PlayStations out everywhere, okay, and then on top of that, offering literally everyone's library, because since all the developers that were already developing for Nintendo, Sony, whatever, for Nintendo, Sega, whatever, all these, Atari, they weren't able to develop for anybody else because they couldn't. Well, all of a sudden now they could learn Sony really quick, and they've now developed at least for 2 platforms minimum. And so all of a sudden Sony had this humongous massive library that started getting close to Nintendo's, and all of a sudden started taking over Nintendo's, and just took over Nintendo's, because Nintendo had all these exclusive titles and all these exclusive you know, brands like Mario and you know, Legend of Zelda and shit like that, and Final Fantasy, up until you know, Sony started fucking, you know, just, you know, grabbing everything up. In fact, you know, I'm glad I brought up Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy was on the Sony, and that was Square, and that was one of the first ones that, you know, started fucking, you know, spreading their wings from the baby, you know, from the daddy, you know, Nintendo, that, you know, created them and brought them up, and, you know, everything, and all of a sudden they branched out and made Final Fantasy 7 for fucking Sony PlayStation. And that shit just, you know, that's it. That shit opened Pandora's box in that sense, okay? So, the way I'm looking at all this right now, and I'm looking at EOS, I'm looking at EOS like the Sony PlayStation. Period. The end. That's it. Okay? So, take that and my story for what it is, okay? For, you know, take this whole story, you know, and then make of it what you will. But besides doing my research on Dan Larimer, the platform, all this shit that you're gonna find in all these other tech sites, or, you know, what is it, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, talking guys, I don't even know what the fuck I'm just talking bullshit here. This is not necessarily a crypto site, I guess. I don't know. Page. Whatever. YouTube channel. But anyway, obviously I'm not even that professional, right? Anyway, look, all I'm saying is this. I'm just giving you a history lesson. This is crypto history. That's what this is, crypto history. So this is just a history lesson, okay? And take that for what it may. If you want all the technicals, there's a bunch of other sites. And in fact, I got all the links on my page, okay? So that you can follow all these guys, because again, they're awesome, you know, and I think we're all a community. But I think I'm just gonna, you know, focus on, you know, history and video game. This is the, you know, just how history is gonna affect the future. So anyway, this is just that was just a little brief moment in time in video game history, and I think that it pertains very well to like this whole situation at the moment. Okay, so again, I'm sorry, I apologize for the long-windedness and talking so much. I just finished smoking out with my fucking friends before they went off to work. All right, so, you know, anyway, yeah, smoking the crack, smoking the weed, smoking the drugs, smoking the everything you can imagine. Some DMT. That's what helps you trade, by the way, and that's really good. You know, you should don't. Anyway, so okay, I'm gonna end that with that. So I believe in EOS. EOS is gonna change the fucking world, and it's gonna be fucking amazing. Again, if you want all the technicals and all the other bullshit, look at everywhere else. I think Ethereum is great, and platforms like Ethereum, but Ethereum, you know, is the one we have now. It's great, everything's wonderful, but I'm gonna tell you right now, once people start building on EOS, and EOS starts, you know, becoming, it's just out there and people can build on it just like Ethereum, Ethereum will fucking disappear. And the only thing that's gonna back up Ethereum, but keep backing Ethereum, are gonna be the corporations. And again, people that are into the crypto space, or people that are libertarian, or people that are this whole fucking thing here, they should know what's up, okay? So if you see all the corporations going behind Ethereum, and then you see all the, you know, not corporations, you feel me? Just like the people like you and me, just the regular folk on EOS, come on, you know, that shit should just speak for itself again. And again, not to say that Ethereum isn't going to be here, and it's not going to be here for a long time, and it's not going to be something that we use, but at the end of the day, I really do think that EOS is the future. It's what's going to help us build the Internet 3.0, help us build this interface that we need to build on top of the internet, the decentralized internet that we need to build, and EOS is going to help us build this decentralized internet. That's it. And those are my 2 cents. But actually, I was giving you my dollar, but due to inflation, it's only come down to 2 cents. And hence why the video is so long. Otherwise, it would have just been... Again, none of this makes any sense. I'm going to leave it here. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please share. Please, please, please. Thanks for all the love. Keep commenting, keep adding, you know, and all that stuff. By the way, the reason I'm making this video, even though I was going to make only one today, was because of a comment. So please, comment. I'll make a video. You never know. So, it'll be a good comment. All right. Anyway, so thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys mañana. All right. That's tomorrow in Spanish. Tomorrow in another language would be Auf Wiedersehen. That's German, I think. So